Alright, guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the poll, the show where we talk about the comics that came out this week. Joining me today, of course, is Joel from Cape Joel and Caitlin from That Sea Monster. I'm Tiffany from ComicPOP, and we're going to get right into the comics because we have a shorter list than usual this week, which means that you guys can talk about it a little bit more than usual. So how about we start off right away with JLA Rebirth #1. Joel and Caitlin, you both read it this week. Why don't you both tell me about it?
Would you like to take points on this one, Caitlin?
Sure. It was neat. No, it was... I mean, actually, that is the best way that I can describe it. Justice League of America was pretty much... So the last few weeks, we've had our standalones, like, you know, the Atom Rebirth and the members of the JLA getting their own Rebirth standalones to kind of reacquaint the audience with them before we got our Justice League of America Rebirth issues. So in the aftermath of Justice League Suicide Squad, Batman and Killer Frost team up to start their own Justice League, known as Justice League B-Team.
or Justice League CW, or Justice League TV adjacent. But, you know, we're not going to split hairs on that one.
Justice League merchandising. Justice League expanded content. I don't know. Either way, they take some of the lesser-known heroes that have kind of been popping up throughout the CW continuity and have put them together in their own Justice League, and that is the Justice League of America Rebirth issue, pretty much. And they also enlist the help of Lobo, which I thought was kind of interesting there. I actually really wasn't expecting the Lobo enlist. So.
Oh, that was...
He owes Batman a favor is the thing, and you got to wonder how long is he going to, you know, march in lockstep to what Batman wants. It's issue 1, and they're already, like, joking with some, like, you know, dissension in the ranks there, where it's like, you know, how are you going to keep this guy on a leash for how long?
Lobo is just kind of, it seems like he was bored, like he just really didn't have anything else going on, and Batman was like, you want to come over and play video games in my house? And Lobo was like, okay. But I feel like he's going to be leaving at any moment. I mean, I don't think Batman can really rein him in, can he?
I don't know. I mean, he's the main man. It's the #1 thing that Ben from our channel was excited about, because I don't know why, but I think it's because he rides like a space motorcycle that Ben really likes him, because Ben himself rides motorcycles. So
does he?
I think the concept of the space motorcycle gives him hope that one day he too could ride a space motorcycle.
That's also kind of sentient, because when he whistles, it comes to him.
Yeah, that's the coolest part. It's like, when I was first reading Harry Potter, and Hagrid had his motorcycle, and he was like really scruffy and crazy looking, I was like, Lobo's in the Harry Potter universe.
Robbie Coltrane is Lobo.
Lobo's true origin story is Hagrid.
Nice.
But I feel like, I don't know, I kind of liked that the motorcycle bit sort of was used as an insult against him, because Black Canary and Lobo were facing off towards each other in the Justice League of America in that first issue, and she was calling him, you ignorant space Harley riding piece of shit.
The funny thing is that Black Canary loves motorcycles too. That's her main mode of transportation. So you think, you know, will this be the thing that eventually gets them together and gets them to be friends? Like, hey, you like bikes too? I like bikes.
Let the shipping begin.
It's the space Harleys, so, and Black Canary's not down with that.
She might be.
Oh, don't start shipping them yet. You know, he's got my boy Green Arrow there, which is funny. Batman recruits Black Canary for the team. They never mention Green Arrow once, and I wonder, will Ollie be hurt by this when he finds out? It's like, hey, but I was on the old Justice League of America, and I was on the JLU. Why didn't Batman talk to me?
Well, he doesn't look like
Ollie,
she does.
And he doesn't have superpowers. Batman's like, yeah, thanks. We already got one rich dude with gadgets. Yeah. You can stay at home, Blondie.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So what do you think of this so far, for like in terms of Justice League book in general?
Much better than the main one.
Ooh.
Yeah. Even though this one ranks as neat on a scale of 1 to fucking awesome, I would say it's still better than the current Justice League, which is standing at a solid -2.
Okay.
Sorry, Hitch. Another big thing we got to talk about before we move on, the base of operations that the Justice League of America chooses to make their own. It's Mount Justice in Happy Harbor, the former home of the Doom Patrol, former home of the Justice Society of America. And they even drop a little reference there at the end to Lady Liberty. And that's another one of those books where it's like, hey, weren't we supposed to get a JSA book as part of Justice League or as part of DC Universe Rebirth? What happened with that? They're teasing it now.
Yeah, that Happy Harbor thing was a kind of a surprise for me when I heard about that for other reasons.
Oh, your great adventure game that you guys played over on your own channel there.
Yeah.
You chose that.
Can't use that town anymore. Thanks,
Taken, apparently.
JLA. So why don't we just abandon the JLA entirely, leave it alone, and just go over. We'll talk about the Red Hood. Caitlin, tell me about the Red Hood. Tell me they're not in Happy Harbor.
Oh, they're not in Happy Harbor, but they are busy reenacting Old Yeller. So
Really?
There was that. They took a break from the overarching plot to go into Bizarro's backstory. And, Jason and Bizarro have befriended each other and have gotten really close. And, they're taking down some scummy bad guys. And, Bizarro is kind of learning under Jason how to sort of rein himself in. Mm-hmm. And Jason is actually seeing a lot of parallels between him when he was younger in his early Robin days and Bizarro in the way that they both had trouble controlling themselves and that there was kind of a darkness in both of them that they're kind of trying to redeem, I guess, in a way.
Okay.
So, it was really cute, and, it was like, Bizarro, whenever Jason would get hurt, he'd be like, "No, hurt Red Man." You mean I hurt you. Like, it was really cute. And it's like, Red Man, my only friend, except for Red Lady and Pup. And I was like, oh, this is too cute. And they established this really, like, nice little relationship and this sort of nurturingness. And then one day they come across Bizarro's origin story and, his escape from sort of the Lex Labs experiment zone.
Okay, so this is still the clone. That was my big question. Like, is this the Lex clone, or is this the actual guy from Bizarro World?
This is the clone. Yeah, this is the clone. Okay. So they talk about, his cloneness, the dangers of keeping this clone alive, and like in one of the recordings they find from one of the scientists at the labs, he goes, "We are one temper tantrum away from entire world destruction by keeping these things alive." And at one point, so like Jason talks with Artemis and he's like, "Oh man, I really like my new dog. Do I really have to put him down, Ma?" And like Artemis is like, "You make the right choice, son." So he finds a kryptonite. Jason goes back to the Batcave to get a kryptonite bullet that Batman made just in case. And there was like this one line that goes, "Just in case you have to kill a friend."
Oh.
And he takes Bizarro out back to this beautiful field at sunrise.
So it's of mice and men now. Will there be rabbits there, Jason? Oh, there sure will, buddy.
That's exactly what it is. Will there be rabbits there, Jason? But no, Bizarro goes, "Wow, it pretty, Jason. Bizarro wish he could be in better place like this all time."
Oh.
And Jason's like loading the kryptonite bullet, tears streaming down his face, like, "I know, buddy." And then he puts the gun up to Bizarro's head, and Bizarro goes, "Bizarro no hate world even after everything. Bizarro want to be like Jason, find good in everybody, help all the people." And Jason lowers the gun, and he goes, "Yeah, I guess. It's getting late. I guess we should go home." And Bizarro goes, "Can we stay a little longer? Bizarro-like place." And I'm like,
Jesus.
It was an emotional roller coaster.
You don't really hear the words Red Hood and emotional roller coaster in the same voice, do you? But I guess they did it.
Red Hood and the emotional roller coaster.
Oh, that's my new punk band name.
Of Mice and Jason.
Nice. So it sounded like you liked it.
Yeah.
It was really good. But I was like, they old yellered the fuck out of this. It was intense, and it was beautiful. It was beautifully drawn, and I got so attached to Bizarro. I was like, if they kill him by the end of this, I swear to God, I'm going to be flipping tables.
Bizarro does a good job bringing out the good in people, even as far back as, like, Forever Evil, when Lex was chilling out with the Bizarro clone. He's like, you know what? He was a monster, but he was my monster.
I know. Bizarro, like, I don't know, if Bizarro and Clayface go back to being evil or have to be taken out at the end of Rebirth, I'm going to be so mad.
Yeah,
I'm
for
so
real.
attached to them. They're my babies.
So,
My fucked up, deformed baby.
so Bizarro is a clone. He proves apparently that Bizarro speech is nature, not nurture, and
Oh.
and apparently he's bringing on the fields. So sounds like this is a definite pickup from Kaylin.
Pick up, and it's actually a good starting off point because
Cool.
it's the start of kind of a new arc, and they sort of summarize a little bit what happened in the past, so you could pick up at this issue real easy.
That's awesome. Very cool. Okay, Joel, how about you tell me about Action Comics number 973? I wanted to say 37, but I'm exhausted, so...
It's hard to keep track with these numbers because they keep getting bigger and bigger, and we're going to break 1,000 soon. So yeah, this
Right.
so this issue kind of focused a lot more on the Doppel Clark, which they gave him an official name in this one, that extra Clark Kent that is running around. No one really knows what his deal is. You know, everyone's kind of looking into him. But shockingly, this was more a Lois Lane-centric story than it was anything else. This was her and Maggie Sawyer and the Metropolis cops trying to break up a corruption ring between, you know, a bunch of councilmen and some mobsters and some dirty cops. And you actually get to see Lois kick a massive amount of ass, and Maggie Sawyer even drops by for a cameo. So, you know, if you love the extended Superman family, this was a goodie.
That's awesome.
Also, I just want to note, too, that it turns out the original Clark, or not the original, but, like, other Clark, is really a creeper.
Oh, yeah, he is.
They have some really good face angles on that, where he's, like, got some flowers, and he's looking at Lois, and he's like, "You want to go on a date?"
I love you this much. And at first Lois is like, man, screw this guy. But then she's like, I really got to crack this case. Hope my husband doesn't find out I'm going out on a date with his doppelganger.
The end of that was like, and then like there's this little box in the corner that's like, there was just something about this other Clark that creeped me out.
Oh, and too, you know, there is superhero stuff in this one as well. Steel comes to Superman for help because Superwoman, her powers are disagreeing with her. The powers that she got from New 52 Superman after his death. And he even says to himself, how did you guys even find me at my secret fortress of solitude? And Steel's like, I don't know, man, she told me.
Oh.
Yeah. I also liked how you put it as in they're disagreeing with her. Like, she ate some bad Thai food. It's just like, her powers are just disagreeing with her.
They're killing her slowly, but they're disagreeing with her first.
They just disagree with her.
I wonder, because again, I've been toying around with this electric red and blue Superman theory, which of course Benny has continually shot down. But wouldn't it be kind of funny if the reason her powers are not agreeing with her is because that's the red New 52 Superman trying to break back out again, essentially?
So I see how you have a really, really strong foundation for that theory, and how that theory could definitely be plausible. Still don't like it.
Still don't like. Hey, you don't have to like it. That's the thing. That's why it's a theory.
All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to get distracted. I got a text from my job, so...
No, that's fine.
Job is like, Tiff, why are you no jobbing right now?
I'm like, cause it's like 6:45. Job time's over, man.
Are you talking about that Superman online again?
I'm listening to it. I'm enjoying it. So, if you want to enjoy it too, you go pick up Action Comics number 973. It sounds like a good time. It sounds like a creepy, fun time. You want to get some notes on how to be a creeper? I don't want to know about that, but this could be the book for you.
On my Superman Action Comics playlist, I have included the song "Do the Creep" by Lonely Island.
Nice.
Ooh, another big one, too, before we move on right quick, and this is a short one, because it kind of ties back to what was being written before when this new Superman showed up. Hank Henshaw shows up again, which many will remember as the cyborg Superman, only he's not anymore because they've changed that around to where now Supergirl's dad is the cyborg Superman. Hank Henshaw is just Hank Henshaw. Yeah. I thought that was a nice touch to see him show up again, because that ties into the mini from before where Superman saved him, and he's like, well, this world has to be different from my world because you're not a freaking robot, so I guess we're good then.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, because that was the old Hank Henshaw, who, as far as we knew, was just a normal guy, just a normal good guy, but now they're hinting he might be villainous anyway, cyborg or not.
All right. So yeah, Action Comics still going strong. Still, I guess there's like 100 issue. So if you're looking for that, this is a pickup for you guys. Then, we're gonna take a quick detour over to Marvel, real quick. We got only a couple of detours over there today. And we're gonna talk about Kingpin #1. So, in light of everyone talking about how great villain comics have been for Marvel, I was like, I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read Kingpin. And I started reading it initially. I was like, why am I reading this? And by the time I was done, I was so infatuated with what was going on. I was like, where's the next part?
It gets you, doesn't it? It really grabs you.
Did. We are introduced to Sarah Dewey. Now, I don't know much about this universe, the Kingpin's universe, the Daredevil universe. New. Okay, I kind of got that. I kind of got that feeling that they were trying to introduce someone that they had created, a character that they could just do whatever they wanted to. But she's a reporter of sorts. She was at the top of her game at one point, maybe earlier. But at this point, she hasn't been doing quite as much that was impressive, essentially. And she gets a proposal, essentially, that the Kingpin would like her to write a book, basically a biography about him. And he wants her
something to show his humanity, something to be like, look, I'm a complicated guy. I'm not just pure evil, I love your boxing profiles, because that's what he picks her up doing, boxing profiles.
Right, exactly. And that in and of itself, is interesting in terms of the Daredevil mythos. But she's hesitant, of course, at first, and he does the whole, Pretty Woman courtship where he sends her dresses and the whole thing.
Which isn't creepy at all, but I like she says, it's like, oh, thanks for sending me this spangled hooker costume, guy.
Exactly.
Spangled hooker costume.
But, hey, she had two choices. She picked that one over the other one. There was one that was way more to the hooker side than the other, and she went with the one that was more hookery. But
always go more hookery.
Right. So he takes her to a donut shop. He doesn't hide the fact that he's a bad man. He tries to really lay it all out on Front Street. They end up going for a walk in a park. A homeless individual or a downtrodden soul, if you will, approaches them for money. He gives them some. The guy comes back, of course, because he sees the wad of cash, because Kingpin makes the mistake that rich people, I guess, make when you pull out the money to give the person. They pull out the whole roll. So it's check out all the 20s. I'm going to give you one here. But so he comes back, approaches him with a knife. Kingpin ends up giving him just a bunch more money, his watch, and sends him off. And we later on find that guy dead of an overdose? ?
Either by his own hands, or maybe he was given a hot shot.
I know, and I part of me really hopes it's the overdose, because I like what that says, that even when Kingpin tries to do good, he cannot do good.
Yeah, it's a nice visual metaphor.
Right, but he is truly charismatic in this. The way that he is written is just I'm like, wow. I seriously, I'm telling you, the first 2 pages I was like, what the hell am I reading this for? And then as soon as we got to Kingpin, I was just like, yeah, what is he bad? Is he good? What's happening here? How is this all going to go completely awry? So
we all become Sarah Dewey. We get charmed by him the same way she's getting charmed by him. And by the end, I'm like, oh, Wilson.
Yeah, you're right. Are you going to send me dresses? So I thought that was awesome. I really like, Torres doing art. It's almost like a really refined Frank Miller, from Dark Knight Returns. I was
exactly what it was.
I was like, this is spectacular. This is where I had hoped that Miller could have gotten, but we just never got there. It really fits. It really, with all of the incredible, black inks that they have going on, and just the, incredible, establishing shots of, areas, and just using colors. It's so good, and it's just such a good fit. So I'm on board for this.
Me too. There was a lot of Miller in this. I had mentioned before how much I was loving the new Daredevil, how much Bullseye disappointed me. This one won me over. This is what I would call a truly adult comic, and I don't mean there was a lot of blood and swearing it. No, this was dealing with adult issues like legacy and compromising one's art to pay the rent and everything. That's good, solid stuff, and it paid homage to Kingpin throughout history. He's doing martial arts because that's a thing he can do.
Yep.
His little toady is Wesley, the dude from the Netflix Daredevil show who technically never went away in the comics. He just disappeared after Frank Miller stopped writing him. He's back now.
Yep.
And you got this great feeling there where it's like, does he really want this lady to write a book because he cares about his image? Or does this have something to do with her connection to boxing or foreign policy? There's so many places this book could go from here. It's a great first issue.
Right, and then she runs into Matt Murdock, and Matt Murdock acts more like a villain than Kingpin does. And I'm like, this is
He's a
genius. It's just so good. I really liked it.
The villainy, man, it's all a perspective thing.
I know, and I'm like, is Sarah going to be the new Vanessa?
That dress he gives her is very similar to a dress Vanessa wore very early on in her run, which made me think,
Interesting. So I'm liking what Marvel's doing with their bad guys lately. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. So, I think Joel and I would say, if you're interested in the world of Daredevil, go grab this. It's stuff.
Skip Bullseye, get this one.
There you go. So, Joel, while we're at it, why don't you tell me about Detective Comics number 950? I wish those two had the same numbering, but they don't.
I know, right? That would keep it so much easier. This is the supersized anniversary issue, is what this one is. So we actually end up getting a ton of anthology stories, one focusing on Cassandra Cain Orphan, one focusing on Azrael, of all people, and what was the third one? Oh, the third one focusing on Tim Drake before his death, which is a little shorty that actually kind of ties into everything that Batman has been doing recently. That one was probably my favorite, and it was the shortest.
I loved Orphans. It opened, like, them opening up with Orphan's story, and it goes into her backstory, so it's super friendly for new readers just getting acquainted with that character, and it ties into her. I loved how she compares the acts of violence and assassination and the athleticism and brutality behind that, and juxtaposes it with dance.
Because she speaks only in body language.
Yep, because she's like, she can only speak in body language, and though she tries to communicate that sort of love and that sort of art and that song that she constantly describes, she can only seem to communicate brutality. And I thought that was just... it was so cool. It was...
how she sees herself in every other member of her team being like, Batwoman like me, she's a soldier, but, she wields herself. I wish I could do something like that. Azrael, he was an assassin, but he's found peace. I wish I could do it. They treat Clayface like a monster. I feel like a monster, and I have so many feelings I want to express to them, but I can't talk, and I feel like I'm trapped inside myself. It's really a hell of a feat to write a whole story about the emotions and feelings of a character who can't talk. That's kind of great.
Yeah, I love that, because one of the things with Orphan is that we rarely get to hear her voice or really see her dialogue or her monologues. So I loved getting a really good chunk of content that was just really focused on her and what she sounds like and what her voice is like and how she feels being who she is, and sort of her relationship to the Bat family, as an outsider, but not quite an outsider. And also how she's dealing with the death of Tim and the absence of Spoiler along with that, and how, the absence of the two of them, she feels like she's no longer noticed because she felt closest to them.
I move unseen through the belfry now.
Yeah, it was just really
sad.
Really good.
And further to tying it back to Batman and Robin Eternal, which I loved. I don't think a lot of people gave that one a chance. And further going the next step of being like, well, if she's this amazing assassin thing, truly or surely she will attract the eyes of other assassins. And we see at the end Lady Shiva show up, who has, thank God, finally ditched her ugly green ninja pajamas and is back to the slick red and gold trench coat thing that she wore before.
It looks so badass. It looks so good. I did not like the pajamas either.
Those were really ugly. That was one of the worst New 52 costumes. And she has this great bit as that segment ends where it's like, I see you, I see you, I hear you type thing.
Yeah, no, she goes, I hear you, girl. And I was like...
because I, too, speak the language of violence. That's my thing. I am everything you could be if you turn to the dark side.
So good. And I'm like, are we going to get a full story that features Cass being lured away? Are we? And is it going to focus on emotional manipulation and Luke, I am your fatherness?
They're definitely planting seeds for stories to come down the line. That was kind of the thing at the end of each one of these little short stories, like, and here's the thing we're going to do later.
Yeah, you could definitely see it for Orphan and Azrael. I was like, we going to get them standalone?
I love Tynan's take on Azrael, too. Azrael is one of those characters who is so defined by his over-the-top, 90s-ness, I've got knife fingers and a flaming sword, and aren't I cool?
Red and black, fire, bowling shirt. Oh.
Yep. I like this version where he's like, no, he's kind of like your quiet religious friend now. He's like, yeah, that was me before. I was grown in a test tube by this fanatical cult, but I found my peace now and everything, and I wear these nerdlinger glasses that make me much more human and much more relatable. And his story is all about him kind of arguing with Luke Fox, the resident tech guy, and they kind of have this whole, like, faith versus technology thing going on, but they're very respectful of each other, and I thought that was quite nice.
Well, it's cool, too, because Azrael is one of those few characters to have made a true 180 from becoming a villain to just straight up being a hero. Because when he was originally created, he was solely a Batman villain, and he actually went through a pretty complicated story arc that turned him into a good guy. And I like that, a lot of his comics tend to, at least, after those initial development arcs, tended to focus on him almost a little bit as an anti-hero.
Oh, yeah.
But I like that we're sort of going back to this, Azrael is just a good guy.
Yeah.
He's one of the good ones.
They even go out of their way to explain how his Suit of Sorrows works, which is always one of those powers where it's like, what is it magic? Is it technology? What? He's like, well, really, it's an advanced AI that for the longest time made me think I was hearing the voice of God in my head. I know it's not now, but it's also kind of like having two brains and everything. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Let's go with that. And Luke rightfully so says, it's like, well, if the church built this thing, how do you know they're not tracking it? How do you know they're not listening to you right now?
Yeah, we'll probably have to deal with that later.
Mm-hmm.
So, Detective, you're still digging it, right? I know Joel has said this is probably his favorite Batman title right now, and it seems like it's continuing that trend.
Oh, yes, it is. The final story, which is the shortest, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention it, basically it's Tim talking to Batman and saying, hey, Batman, you've been really busy recently. You built up our team. You got your own secret private Justice League you're working on right now. You kind of planted the seeds in Damian's head to go form the Titans. What is it with you building up all these teams, Batman? If I didn't know any better, I would say you're getting ready for a war or something.
Yeah, Batman, why are you building an army over there? What you doing? You just playing a game of Risk for fun or what?
Well, you see, I found this button, and oh crap, I mentioned the button.
No, but
that's totally why he's doing it, and I think that's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I found this button.
Well, still over in DC, Wonder Woman came out this week. Caitlin, tell us about it.
So Wonder Woman, it's actually a really good jumping off point right now. So if you guys were getting frustrated with sort of the back and forth origin story arc, and we were traveling between past and present day, and, things were kind of going along juxtaposed, and you guys sort of dropped it for that reason, I know I did. Jumping back into it now with this new arc called God's Watch, I guess, I think is the name of this arc. It's a good jumping off point. So basically what we're seeing is two trickster gods who are after Wonder Woman's true home of Themyscira.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And they've been doing everything in their power to get it, but she's sort of safeguarded it towards gods. So they enlist the help of two mortals, a super duper political figure and her best friend and only friend who is a techie. And they are enlisting their help to get Wonder Woman's home location. It's actually, I'm not describing it very well, but it was really good. I really enjoyed it. They're using a lot of new programs and new dialogue, which I think is partly why it's not as reminiscent of old school DC or reminiscent of New 52, which might be why I'm having a bit of trouble describing it, because it feels really new. So, I enjoyed it. They kidnapped the politician's daughter and put her in hell, essentially.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. I know. So they're
Not that place.
blackmailing
That's a
them.
bad place.
The techie friend puts her consciousness in an android to go fight Wonder Woman and to try and steal the location of Themyscira.
Oh,
And she winds up being killed because the android kind of burns out. The program that was allowing her to put her consciousness in that android was not developed enough, and she winds up getting trapped in the machine that does the thing. And she gets
becomes
fried.
Dr. Cyber, right?
Yep.
Okay, see, now I
We
get
see
it.
in the origin, yeah, it's kind of like the rebirth origin of Dr. Cyber is what
Okay,
I'm
see,
trying to-
I'm an issue behind. I read the last issue where they're like, "Oh, who's behind this? It's the God Watch," and now you're telling me this new issue is the origins of the
origin
God.
of Dr. Cyber.
That's smart. I like that.
Yeah,
That's
it was a really good way. It was a really good way of doing it, and a pretty new way. Like, I didn't really catch on to what was going on until the end, and I was like, oh, the Freddy Fazbear looking android is Dr. Cyber.
That's a smart way to do it. Have the issues in the futures give you the questions, and then the flashback issues give you the answers to make sure you keep reading both.
Yeah, it was a good way to do it. It's a good jumping off point. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, Origin of Dr. Cyber.
Nice.
Top 2. I would read it.
That
Read
sounds
it.
awesome.
Read it now.
So, all right. So, Wonder Woman sounds like it's they're going somewhere with it. I know we recently read one of the issues, and it was just, it was for off the rack, and like we always read them as though it's like regardless of where you are, it could be someone's first comic. So we picked that up. Some of us knew what was going on, some of us didn't. So it sounds like things are kind of coalescing a little bit more. So that's good. That's good to hear. But how about we move on over to a book that we haven't really seen on this show in a while? But it's All-Star Batman #7. It's something that a lot of people have had a lot of mixed feelings about. Other people are super on board for it. Other people are super not on board for it. I can tell you right now, we were not over here at ComicPOP initially. But let me tell you a little something about me. If you want to sell me a comic, you put one of two people in it. You put Doctor Strange in it, or you put Pamela Isley in it, and I will buy it.
What a focus issue this was.
I adore her as a character. I've always just resonated with her. So I was hesitant at first jumping into this because I hadn't been digging Snyder's run. I haven't read anything, I think, since maybe issue 2. I mean, I fell so far off. I was like, I'm out for now. But I'm right back in it. I'm in it so much. It's like it's scary now. It's scary how into it I am. This issue really is a character study. Let's be honest. It seems like that's kind of what he's doing right now.
Oh yeah.
This one had a completely different artist, which I think some people are going to say is awesome. People are going to say they didn't, care for. I loved it. I'll get more into that. But, we see Pammy in her element. She is out in like what looks like something like Death Valley, something like that. A very desert. Was it? Okay.
It was Death Valley, Nevada. Yep.
Perfect. And she is there studying a very old, very gnarled tree. She's extracting various elements from it, very samples from it. She's studying them. A lot of science, a lot of jargon is tossed around there. At the time that Batman shows up, Pam immediately gets the drop on him, but in the sense of probably that was Batman's plan from the get-go, and he, of course, immediately launches into a story about a girl named Lily who was infected by essentially a virus of sorts that was left over by the last issue's debacle with Mr. Freeze.
And what a bait and switch for me. I'm like, okay, so we're going to see the next part of the Mr. Freeze. No, we're already on to... Okay, well, at least I'm glad you tied it back at
right?
least.
But so that he uses the fact that this girl was into, she studied botany. She liked plants too, and that's where she caught the virus. And of course, Pam sees right through that. She's like, this girl's already dead, which is, I think, one of the greatest elements of this whole story is we are telling the story backwards through splash images while at the same time going forward in time with the actual Batman Pam story. It's just beautifully handled, and like that kind of jumping around can make or break a book, but this was perfect. We see, in my opinion, the classic struggle of Poison Ivy. Like she's very like one thought, one like tends to be very focused, but in this we see a little bit more of the scientist in her. Like she has seemingly found one of the remains of a tree of life, and she's been studying the various items that can be pulled from it. Often it's diseases, it could be weaponized, and sometimes it's cures, and it's something she doesn't want to share with the world because she in and of itself is wary of man, clearly. She very much is for nature, trees, all of that. She
speaks for the trees.
She does. She's like the Lorax of the Batman universe.
Only she'll fucking end you.
Right. She's like a hardcore Lorax. It's what Seuss was going for.
Hardcore Lorax.
But
I like to, in this whole issue, they talk about Poison Ivy. They never mention the green, which I like. This is Snyder bringing her back to being like, no, she's less magic. She's a scientist.
Yeah, this
she does
is
science.
Exactly. And I like both elements to her. I like the magic element to her. I like the science element to her. I think that's like her coming together perfectly. But in this, like, it was legitimately the struggle of helping others or helping essentially herself. And in the end, of course, she makes the right choices, and for a reason that I thought was amazing. I mean, clearly she wants to help the world. The girl is already dead, of course. It's no surprise. She knows that out of the gate. But she doesn't want the disease to be named after this girl, and the location she found, which is, of course, the Lily's garden, essentially, that she calls her cradle. And this was so perfect, and LaToya's art, oh my god, like, it's what I wish my dreams looked like. Like, if she could just draw the things that happen while I'm sleeping, that'd be A-okay with me, because I thought it was great. I mean, like, I love Jock's art. I love the combination of Jock and Snyder. I think that the two of them work great together, but I think for a Poison Ivy book to make that change was the right call, 100%.
I really, really enjoyed, too, at the very beginning, you see a callback to Cycle of Life and Death.
Oh.
Which I really enjoyed. It actually, it references, like, Ivy going to the Sierra Nevadas to the Tree of Life actually happens in Cycle of Life and Death.
Oh, shit.
And so it ties in this continuity. It ties into her overall modern continuity. And I really like that they acknowledged that very short standalone run that she had for Cycle of Life and Death.
Yep.
Because it gives me hope, first of all, for another standalone, because I loved Cycle. I thought it blended in the concept of the green and then her hard science background really well. But I want more of that. But the callback to it was great. They're
building a hell of a tapestry for Poison Ivy right now in the comics, and she's occupying this very, very complicated place, which I like. Where it's like yeah, I'm selfish and I'll do some bad things, but I'm not really a bad person. At the end of the day, I have layers to myself, and she like even at the beginning of the New 52, it's like, well, she's not really a bad guy anymore. Yeah. She hasn't tried to take over the world in a little bit, and I mean, really, for the Gotham set, if you don't try and take over the world and kill a bunch of people, you're basically a good guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, the idea of having like another series would be great. I like when they do these one-shot character issues, essentially, because it's like it really allows them to put a concentrated effort into getting them across without having to like stretch it out over whatever the issue run has to be for a story arc, you know what I mean? So it's just like, here's the story. I don't have to worry about trying to make this work in whatever's going on. I don't have to try to make this work in, like continuity, essentially. Like, this, I really dig this. It's kind of what they just finished up in the last Doctor Strange arc, where they went through his rogues gallery and it was just like concentrated issues on each of his villains. So I dig that. I dig like the like kind of intimate moments that Batman then now gets to have with each of his rogues. And of course,
the next one's going to be Mad Hatter.
I know.
How is Snyder going to do his like Lovecraftian horror take on, the Mad Hatter? Honestly, I don't think you have to try that hard. Mad Hatter is just creepy by the merit of being Mad Hatter.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Jarvis. He's one of my favorite villains. I have a lot of covers. Well, not a lot of covers, because not a lot of Hatter covers have been made, but I have a couple Jarvis covers, and I'm so happy that he's going to get his own, and he's going to get his moment, because I feel like as I guess, maybe cliche or as Five Edgy Ate Me as Jarvis kind of is, he doesn't really get used that often. And I think it's because it's hard to use him without it feeling chintzy.
Or feeling like the Adam West Batman show. Oh, Fragius Day, Kalukale, the Vorpal Blade went snicker snack.
Yeah,
we don't want that.
It's just hard to use him either way. So I'm really excited to see what happens with him here.
I've never been a huge Mad Hatter fan, and that's even just coming out of the animated series. It was always like a little like, yeah, you're skirting a line that I'm not sure I want to be a part
he was creepy.
of.
Oh,
Yeah.
He was a sexual harassment lawsuit
That's,
waiting to happen.
and that for me was the moment I was like, I don't think so. I mean, let's be honest, most of my loves and dislikes of the Batman Rogues Gallery comes from that show. I love Poison Ivy, I love Mr. Freeze. But like he's always been one I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. So I'm interested to see what Snyder does with it. You know, like
that's exactly why I liked him as a villain, because he was that upsetting. And I was like, he almost goes into the too real kind of Law and Order SVU-ishness for villains. So, but that's partly why I liked him so much, because it was that much more satisfying to watch him get taken out.
And that he's so wholly pathetic, and yet they try and make you sympathize with him at the same time. And then by the end, it's like, nah, dude, I don't sympathize with him anymore.
That can't relate, man.
That show made Baby Doll work, so...
It's true.
Yeah.
Imagine a Snyder take on Baby Doll.
Right.
Baby Doll.
I don't want
Baby
that.
Doll is a nope and a half.
All right, so we're going to take our other detour over to Marvel with a book that I think most of the chat kind of knew was coming. Everyone's been looking forward to hearing about this. Rob is not here to talk about it. So, Joel, you're going to have to fill in as our Canadian Rob today to talk about The Unworthy Thor #4.
I've been working on my Rob opinion. Man, this Unworthy Thor book, man. If you love Marvel Cosmic, you're going to love this book, man, because they do so much right in this issue. This is the ass-kicking issue, is what it is. This is Thor. He knows who he is. He knows what he wants to do. He knows he's got to get that hammer to save everybody, and he is not going to let anybody stand in his way. Another level on top of it where we actually get a bunch of flashbacks to him throughout his life and how his opinion of the hammer changed from a young man who could never wield it even though he wanted it to like a young hip god. I like they show like 20-year-old Thor and 20-year-old Jane. They had just finished banging and she's like, why do you keep looking at that hammer all the time? It's like, because I'm afraid one day I won't be able to lift it.
Ooh.
And in fact, every day before I pick it up, I never know I'm worthy until I do. And they kind of play with this idea where it's like, you know, being worthy isn't something you just are. You got to work at being worthy every day. And Thor was like, I kind of lost that as I got older, and I was undone by a frickin' whisper. I need to get back to that guy that I was. I need to get back to the dude who always strived to be worthy and basically be the best Thor that I can be. And that sounds cheesy when I'm saying it, but when Aaron writes it, you believe absolutely every second of it. And in fact, they even put a little extra twist on top of that at his absolute lowest and most depressed, before he took off and was never seen again, Jane actually came to him and wanted to come clean to him about being new Thor, but he was just so lost in his own bullshit he wasn't hearing any of it, and he just left, and I'm like, oh, he was so close to knowing. Yeah.
Oh. I gotta tell you, you're commenting on his fear of not being able to pick up the hammer makes me think of there's probably some guys out there are terrified of the day that their girlfriends or wives gives them a jar they can't open. Like
Probably.
that's like the mortal version of that. Is like, can you
Oh,
open
it's
this for
tapping
me?
into that.
Oh, you can't open that for me? I don't need you anymore.
It's
I don't
Thor
need to get out
having
of my house.
Yeah,
it's
what
Thor
good are
having
you?
to find and reevaluate his manhood and what that means in a new Marvel universe. I'm like, man, that's pretty freaking cool. And also beats up a lot of people while he's doing it, so that's always fun.
That seems like
And
the Thor way.
that is
the
kind of the Thor.
Thorian.
The cover made me think a little bit of Old Man Logan, and I was like, it's Old Man Thor!
In a way, it kind of is.
It kind of is. It's a similar redemption journey. It's a similar sort of struggle arc, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think
Lots of good stuff.
Do you think they'll ever take Thor to a place where he ends up becoming like his father in a sense, where he ends up like looking similar to him, like in the far-flung future?
They've
totally
toyed with that idea several times, actually. When Aaron first started writing the book, they had the first arc was like a 3-tiered time story where you saw young Thor before he wielded the hammer, current day Avenger Thor, then King Thor of the future who rules over a dead and derelict Asgard. Because, that's the future where everything died and it was a bunch of stuff with the God Butcher. But yeah, they have toyed around with the idea of Thor maybe one day becoming like his father, and Aaron definitely sees it that way.
Wouldn't it be really interesting, just sort of looking at the current Marvel strategy of trying to sort of put in our legacy heroes and weave them in with these new heroes that we have? Wouldn't it be kind of interesting if Thor graduated to sort of the Odin position? And then Jane Foster stayed as Thor.
I like that. Jane, you got this. You're on all the teams. They got your numbers. You do that. I can do more good to Asgard. Because my dad and my uncle, they've been fucking this all up. Is what they've been doing. I need to actually repair like Midgard and realm relations that I can only do as king, as the ruler. I need to become new Odin essentially.
Yeah.
They should just let Sif rule. I know she's not in the royal family, but she's usually there and not on Earth.
It's true,
so it's like she kind of knows what's going on a little bit more in Asgard. I'm just saying.
She shows up.
Yeah, exactly.
She shows up to class.
Showing up's like 80% right there.
It kind of is.
I just want to
hey,
put
where's
that
Thor
out there.
today? Flying around looking, lost somewhere. Really? So none of the royal family is actually here right now. God damn.
She's like, that's fine. I'm just going to keep pulling all the strings to make the kingdom work until they come back.
Hey, Heimdall, what are you doing? Watching the bridge, man. Just all day watching this bridge.
Thanks.
Heimdall, do you think maybe you could help us out a little bit? Nah, man. Gotta watch the bridge.
Thanks, Heimdall. You just keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I see the entire universe. Do you see the entire universe?
I see one person not doing much.
I see one person not pitching in.
I see one person getting a pink slip.
Sif, the project manager.
Right? Yeah.
Heimdall demands a taco. Bring him a taco as he watches the universe.
Yeah, Heimdall, I'm not your assistant. That's not what I do here. Okay, honey, you want a taco? I'm sure you could see where one is.
I'm your landlord, not your maid.
I'm sure Uber Eats will deliver you one.
Just go get it, man. All right.
It's even funnier because in a newer story they say that's like, and even I, the great Heimdall, have to blink from time to time. And I'm like, dude, if you blink, then what good? You're just the same as us then if you have to blink.
Yeah, dude, I could stand there too. Maybe we could get a chair up in here.
You mean I could have had a chair this whole time? No. If you give Heimdall a chair, he'll just fall asleep, so you can't give him a chair.
It's like giving a mouse a cookie. You can't.
You can't give a Heimdall a chair.
Because then you'll ask for a glass of milk, then you'll be fucked.
Yeah, it's over. It's at that point. It's just why even bother having Asgard?
Blanket?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff. But yeah, Unworthy Thor is really good. They even add some more character to the other Ultimate Universe hammer, because it starts talking to Thor now. And as you might understand, the hammer's freaking the hell out. He's like, hey, where's my Thor? Where's my Earth? And where's my universe? What happened?
Where'd my Thor go?
Basically, yeah.
Okay, so the hammer is also sentient?
Or at least Thor can hear it, is the thing. Maybe he's going crazy. Maybe he can actually hear it.
Is this like Red Sonja and her sword?
Oh, yeah.
That's
cool.
Is that what we're doing here? Doing a little Red Sonja?
That kind of makes its nickname Mew Mew that much cuter if it's sentient.
I mean, yeah, wouldn't that be something? Because I don't know a lot about the Ultimate Universe, nor do I know a lot about the Ultimate Hammer, but now that we know the main universe hammer is actually sentient and can actually sort of communicate, is this the new thing they're running with now, that the hammers are alive?
Oh. The hammers are alive!
The sound of music.
With the sound of shaming Thor.
I love it. You went for the musical. I went for the B movie. The Frankenstein.
That says a lot about me, doesn't it?
Yeah, what's up with that, man?
Thor Odinson, superstar. Are you what people say you are?
So Unworthy Thor #4, even without Rob here, it sounds like it was an awesome book. Joel did a great job talking about it, so thank you, sir. Now we're going to go back over to DC with the Suicide Squad. Caitlin.
Amanda Waller done fucked up again.
No.
Okay.
Must be a day that ends in Y.
Is there a point where she doesn't? Like, I feel like that list is shorter.
Like she.
What is it exactly? It is you say you do here, Miss Waller?
She just really, God, she's just got to get her shit together. So Amanda Waller has gone into hiding.
Right. This is the fallout of Justice League Suicide Squad, so yeah.
Yep, Mr. Scimitar is
Rustam.
Yep, Rustam, Mr. Scimitar is running around screwing shit up for Waller. So after the incidents of Justice League versus Suicide Squad, that's kind of what we're dealing with here is the aftermath of that. Emerald Empress is still on as a member of the Suicide Squad. We're actually using Hack for the first time in forever, which is great. Hack is operating as a double agent for the current leader of the Suicide Squad, the person who has filled in Amanda Waller's position, while Amanda Waller has gone on indefinite leave. For being a danger to humanity. So,
yeah, that'll
Amanda
do
Waller
it.
is underground in a bunker hiding. She still seems to have some control over the Suicide Squad. I imagine she has an extra kill switch somewhere and is using Hack as a double agent to get information.
So an average day at Task Force X is what you're saying.
Pretty much an average day. The task force goes on leave because they've saved the world and now they're taking out people and everybody's exhausted, so they get a quick break since the current leader is not nearly as harsh as Amanda Waller.
She's the fun boss.
She's the fun boss. People are like, I don't know who I hate more, her or Waller. And I'm like, I don't know, she's letting you guys go on a leave.
Waller never let you do that.
A Waller would have just killed you, so I'm pretty sure she's nicer. So she's the fun boss. Cranky Boss is having some kind of existential crisis, gets really, really drunk, breaks into the bunker where Zod is being kept.
Oh no.
Has her hand hovering over the Zod release switch and is like, Zod, you and I can relate a lot together, man. Like, I'm a control freak and like the master of my own universe. And you're like Zod. So like, you know, man, my kids hate me. I don't know why they hate me so much. And then Fun Boss comes in and Fun Boss goes, Waller, what the hell? Why are you drunk and in this secure facility when you're supposed to be on leave? You need to get out. This is stupid. You're flirting with the apocalypse because you have issues. The world does not deserve to be destroyed because you're having a midlife crisis. Get it together or I'll shoot you in the chest.
Oh, so, I gotta see that, because I think a lot of writers have missed that opportunity to write Amanda Waller as, like, a romantic character, as, like, a woman with feelings and needs. I'm like, see, that's a story they kind of need to tell.
I know, and it, like, sort of broke through a little bit when she has that bottle of wine in her hands and is like, my kids hate me. I do everything for them.
Dude, her kids are alive? Because I know that's, like, a thing in her whole long history. Like, she had a family, then the family got killed, and that's why she became such an ice queen.
I know, and it's sort of like floating up in the air because when she said, my kids hate me, I'm like, is she talking about what she's using to replace her kids, the Suicide Squad, or is she talking about her kids?
Interesting.
Because that changes her up entirely, so, but she's, yeah, Fun Boss comes in is like, if you don't get away from that wine and that button, I will shoot you in the chest.
And Milara's doing the art now, isn't he?
Your Bob shoots you in the chest, and then she's like, okay, Waller, just fuck off. Poo-poo. And then Waller is shot in the chest, and Waller starts to have this very sobering inner monologue, where she's like, and after the fear vanished, blackness came. And I'm like, what?
Damn.
Did Waller dead? Maybe.
They got a new artist for this one, didn't they? Isn't Millar drawing this now, or what is it? Friggin', I'm thinking who's drawing this one now?
I'm actually not sure who's drawing this now. I can't remember.
I remember they made a big deal about JJ. I don't know why. I'm terrible with artist names. I can always remember writers' names, but I can never remember artist name to save my life. I'm sorry. I'm a bad comic book guy.
No, it's okay.
Can't remember my artist names.
But Waller only has a "is she dead?" question mark, so she's probably alive.
I don't think they'd kill her. I think there's some characters who are death-proof, and I think she's one of them.
But I think she's going to go through a story arc and then probably release Zod.
Interesting.
And then kneel before him.
That deal before him.
Nobody can say the word Zod without me thinking that. I'm sorry.
It's kind of like, how could Waller fuck up any more? Or any more gigantically? How could Waller fuck up any more bigly?
You know what my question is? How does she keep getting funding for all of this?
She's a really good negotiator.
Right?
I guess.
She's the greatest magician ever. She's like, look at this over here. Shiny, 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 shiny. Give me money.
I always figured she had a lot of good blackmail on everyone.
Waller on Shark Tank.
That would be fun.
That'd be great.
So, I guess that's it. I mean, I have one more book that I didn't put on the list that I read, but it's an indie book, so I wasn't going to bother.
What was it?
You might as well.
I've been reading, I don't know, it's a limited run series by Image. It's called Green Valley. It's a Max Landis, Giuseppe Camicoli book.
Oh, shit.
It's on issue 5, and it's really good, and it's right up my alley. How about this? It's not American Alien good. Let's just put that out there right now.
Two things are.
Landis's work on American Alien is something completely different. His work on Green Valley is, he wanted to tell a fantasy story, but he wanted to put in like a super awesome twist. And he's done a really good job of that. And again, because of the fact that it's just a miniseries, it only has 9 issues. We're essentially halfway through. It's, that he's got to be in the middle and end, and I think that's the best way that he works, especially since he's a scriptwriter himself. Yeah. I love what he's doing with this book. I love the characters he's given us. It's essentially, initially it was about 4 knights, the Knights of Caledonia. They range in age, but tend to skew to the older side, and it's, right out of the gate, the town that they protect is attacked. One of the knights, his love interest is killed, and we fast forward like a year later, and like the knights have kind of stopped doing knightly things. Because it was just they kind of just gave up at that point, and
got too raw, man. It got too real.
Exactly. A young boy shows up looking for the knights, and because he needs help because his town of Green Valley is under attack by an evil wizard. And there's dragons, and he knows that one of the knights has slain dragons, and as they end up going, turns out it's not so much a wizard with dragons as much as it seems to be a time traveler with dinosaurs.
Oh man!
So
this sounds like the best D&D campaign ever.
To me, initially, it seemed like it was almost like what Paper Girls was doing, but this is very different. The wizard himself seems to be the guy who's been time traveling to steal things to then sell to make money in his future. So he's in it for himself. His ship has crash landed here. He's trying to reclaim metals to rebuild his ship, essentially. And at the beginning of issue 5, there's a huge battle between the 3 knights who are remaining and all these dinosaurs. It's really cool and really fun. And then I'm not going to spoil what happens at the end, but at the end of this issue, but we definitely have a little bit of a change. I have a theory on what's going on, and a T-Rex shows up. So
that sounds like a winner.
That sounds awesome.
I'm way into it right now, and again, because of the fact that it's a miniseries, I know that he has an end. This is going to drag on forever. You know what I mean? This is the story and there you go, and that's going to be it. Camicoli's art is actually good, because I did not like it in Clone Conspiracy. I don't like the way it's treated. I don't care for the inker they have for it. I feel like his heart isn't in it. It's good in this. This really works. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's just the inker, the coloring. I don't know. It's just totally different, and it's great.
If we're having a little indie corner too, I want to thank you, Tiff. You actually recommended a new crime series to me from Jason Latour, the other guy who does Southern Bastards. Oh god, the name is escaping me right now. What was it called again? It was like a 1-word title.
It was, and I can't remember what it was.
The Low or the something or other. It was pretty good.
No. Low is a science fiction one.
Right. Yeah.
Low is really good though.
Low is very good. No, he's thinking of. It didn't come out this week. It came out the week before. Right.
Yeah, it did. It's real pretty, is what it is.
It is very pretty. I didn't pick it up because I'm not a huge crime person typically. I like noir, but that kind of thing isn't in my wheelhouse typically. If anybody knows in the chat what it is we're referring to, I mentioned it in a previous episode. You can
You
see
did. It's really ugly situations rendered in really pretty, almost pastel-ish art. We spend a lot of time at a bar in a thing there. It kind of reminded me of like those bottle episodes of TV shows where it's like, how much can we do in one setting? And they do that, it's a whole thing about like a dude bringing drugs over the border and his old high school crush and everything, and waitresses and bar jerks and everything. It's a good time. It's my kind of book. It's no Southern Bastards. I don't want to give people the impression that this is as good as that. But if you like that, this feels very much like it could take place in the same universe.
Yeah, that's a lot of
That
people
feel
were saying
when your
that.
aesthetic is pastel Albuquerque meth.
Yes, that's absolutely what it is. Wow, you nailed it right there. Put that on the sleeve of the book. You nailed it.
No, it's
Breaking-
not God Country,
Breaking
guys.
pastels.
That's good too, though. God Country is very good.
Yeah.
It's not
Not
that.
the
It's not the Spirit either. Oh, come on, brain. What's?
Now we're all just doing Mad Libs. You know, the one with the guy in the place.
I know that
You
one.
know that sounds like a plot from Trailer Park Boys. Yep, that would probably be in the same.
Oh man, when's the Trailer Park Boys comic coming? Those Canadian heroes of mine.
Oh, what?
Here I'm on what is it? Basically the IMDb of comics for Jason Latour. I'm like, it's got to be the last one.
Oh, that's
Speaking-
smart.
Speaking of Canadian heroes, I've been watching a lot of Homestead Discovery documentary reality shows where they're like, look at these people who live in the wilderness. Look how well they do it.
You're like, why? Is it Loose Ends? I think it is Loose Ends.
Loose ends.
ends.
that's
Hell
the one.
rind. Thank you.
Get that man a can of Coke. He did it. Thank you. Yeah,
That's
Loose
exactly
Ends is fun.
what it was.
I like Jason Latour. This is good. I don't know if he just wrote it or if he wrote it and drew it, but it was good.
Very cool. That's awesome. All right, guys. I guess that's it. Those are all the books that we read for this week and talked to you guys about, because we like to tell you about the things that we read and how we felt about them. There were plenty of other books that came out this week, and hopefully you picked up a whole other smattering of them and like them. But if any of the ones that we mentioned that we liked or dug you haven't gotten yet, you should go out and grab them. But before we close this whole thing out, why don't you guys tell us where we can find you and what you guys got coming out this week? Let's start with Caitlin.
You guys can find me on my channel, That Sea Monster, spelled with a C, just a single C, not CEA, but just Sea Monster. And I thought I would explain that since somebody tweeted at me, I tried spelling Sea Monster and I couldn't find you. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll fix that. But this week I have a live reading of Kizu Monogatari, which is this book that I just picked up. It is really good. I'm reading the first few chapters for you guys. It's a Japanese light novel that is based on the Bakemonogatari anime series. It's really good. It's super funny, and it's ridiculous and horrifying in all the right places. So I encourage you to go to my channel and check that out. I also have a couple of Harley Quinn recap videos on there for you guys, and this week, I have some more live reads and more comic book videos. So if you guys want to go over there and hang out with me, that would be super awesome. That's Sea Monster.
All right, Jill, what's going on over there with you?
Well, as always, you can head on over to the Cape Joel channel. You can find reviews of almost everything we talked about this week on the channel. You can hear what I thought. Another cool thing that happened this week, I'm on the DC fan channel again, talking about Justice League Power Rangers issue number 2, which, geez, I guess I could have added that to the list, couldn't I? Oh, well.
Yeah.
Either way, you can go
How about this,
check that
yay
out
or
if you
nay?
like. I liked it much more than issue 1. I thought this was pretty solid.
Awesome.
This is the big fight that you've wanted. You can hear me talk about that over on the DC fan channel. That just went up today, so be sure to check that out. Give nice comments and stroke my ego, and let the DC fan channel know that I'm good, so I can come back and do more of these in the future. Also, and hey, when you're over there, check out Tiff's thing she did for Young Animal. That's good too.
Thank you, sir.
Check out my shade thing that I did over there,
Yes,
too.
yes, lots of good Young Animal stuff there. And also, hey, while you're out subscribing to channels and checking stuff out, subscribe to the Weekly Pool channel. It's the place where this show is archived. And furthermore, listen to Cape TV this week, because Caitlin is going to be joining Matt and myself to talk about TV for the week. So that's stuff you can look forward to. And I'm done.
Are you sure?
I think so. I think I'm done. I
You're
think
like,
that's
also
it.
check out the cereal box. I pasted my face on the front of it. You can check me out here at Cape Crunchies.
I can do that. Oh man, I'm doing that now.
Anyway,
You need to do it for Cape TV tomorrow on Saturday. Please, Joel. Please do it.
Cape Crunchies. It's not really my cereal, but I think it is.
so over on Comic Pop, if you guys haven't already seen it, the latest back issues just went up, and it's of the most terrible Iron Man story you could imagine, written by the infamous Joe Quesada himself. The guys have an amazing time. There's some super inappropriate jokes that I was privy to hearing, but I wasn't on the show. Definitely go and check it out. It's an awesome episode. It's awesome. Also, you can also find a bonus episode of a show we sometimes do called Comic Hype. It usually is where we want to write a little love letter to a particular book that we really care about. This week, Sal actually talks about All-Star Batman #6. So it's pretty cool. He really liked it. I think it's 6. It's 6 or 7. It's 7. 7. I lied. It's 7. You can see him talking about the Poison Ivy issue. That he and Scott Snyder have a love-hate relationship. So Sal likes his work sometimes, and Scott Snyder gets upset sometimes with Sal. So that's fair. It happens. Also, there's an Elseworlds exchange that'll be coming out where Jawan drops in, and they talk all about 90s comic events that worked, which was interesting in and of itself, because I was like, there's a list of those? Really? You got... Show me. So...
You filled the whole show with these, huh?
Yeah, they did. They somehow did, and I had a great conversation. We also have another episode, potentially, we'll see, of Comic Popcorn coming out this weekend.
Oh.
Lots of comic pop things going. See, people are already talking about the things that are happening in that episode of Back Issues.
I'm looking at it, and now I'm going to really have to go watch that episode of Back Issues, because I'm like, I want to be on this with these jokes. But I totally forgot a thing. On Rabbit, on Friday evening, like late Friday evening, I'm doing a watch party for Samurai Jack in honor of the new season for season 1 on Rabbit. And the room on Rabbit is that sea monster, so go ahead and friend me on Rabbit. Everyone should come. You guys should come. And we will, mukbang some pizza and watch some Samurai Jack, or, maybe in Comic Pop's case, mukbang some popcorn. And we should all watch the first season of Samurai Jack together on Rabbit.
I just watched the Scotsman episode the other day.
I was going to say, to be fair, the only person here who can actually have real pizza is me, because I live on the East Coast, so,
Oh.
Putting that out there.
I'm hurt and incredibly envious of this reality, because there is no good pizza in Texas. I have been searching for good pizza here in Dallas, and just delivery, just decent delivery, and I can't find anything. And anything that is decent, they're like, would you like to pay $40 for this gourmet artisanal pizza? And I'm like, no.
Nah, see,
But it's thin crust and Neapolitan.
You're like, I want to pay $15 for a large pie because we got awesome water out here that makes our dough really good. I don't know.
We have really crappy water out here that tastes funny in the tap, and it makes me concerned.
That's correct. Some East Coast love. I love the East Coast. I can't help it. We got pizza.
East Coast is Beast Coast, don't you know?
Ooh.
So, for those of you who don't know, Rabbit is actually a viewing party platform. So it allows you to stream without it risking any form of copyright infringement or anything like that. Movies that you can watch with all of your friends. So, I can stream movies directly from Netflix or shows directly from YouTube, and we can all watch them together.
That's really good, actually.
Yeah, you're not going to get shut down or striked if you do it on Rabbit, which was why I suggested Rabbit. There's a link to that Rabbit channel over on the Discord, and if you want to go to the CPod, you'll be able to find the link to my channel, too.
And you said rabbit, I assumed we're just going to, project this on a rabbit and watch it.
No, why would I invite you to that? Yeah, Joel, come over from Canada so that you can watch the show on my rabbit projector.
I'm not going to say no. I've never seen a rabbit projector before. It might be amazing.
That is not... No, Joel. No,
Yeah, I thought
Joel.
you just MacGyvered it together. Like, yeah, all I need is some rubber bands, some Q-tips, a rabbit, and then we can have a viewing party.
Then we can have a viewing party. Nope.
Well, geez, this I gotta see.
Yeah. So, no. Let's
Okay.
go to the rabbit, and watch the thing.
All right, well,
together.
I'm going to close the show out. Maybe we'll chat for a little bit longer. I can't chat for too much longer, but we could chat for a little bit. But I'm going to definitely give an end to this show so that, the powers that be can cut this appropriately. Thank you guys so much for watching The Pull, and don't forget to come back every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the weekly Pull, and every Thursday for The Pull at around the same time, give or take. Give or take some issues that we may or may not have had today. But we will talk to you guys next time all about awesome comics that came out that week. See ya!
Bye-bye.